Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden, and this is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, fall's creeping in here on this amazingly beautiful Saturday morning, so it's great time for Bullet Points. Now, Bullet Points, if you're not familiar, is the show that is an addition to our 9 p.m. slot. What we cover in Bullet Points is the opinion articles, like today's, and we really take it to the left on the gun arguments they put forward, because usually they introduce them with arrogance and they couch them with condescension because we're too stupid to understand what they're saying and we just lack reason completely and we just love our guns and we love nothing else and we're too dumb to understand anything else. Or at least that's the way it's conveyed. Well, this article, this is a perfect example. Let's dive in. It's linked in the description box below and I want to know what you guys hear on this because this is the type of argument that we don't need to respond to the leftists because they're not going to change their minds. They're zealots. But the individuals who hear you talking and debating to the zealots are the ones that we can turn. Check this out. This is an opinion piece, and this is called, quote, "The cult of weapons of war has another victory over reality and reason." Okay, let's just break that title down. It's a cult, which means it's a religious obsession. It's a weapon of war, which is not a weapon of war. Another victory over reality and reason. So now it's irrational. So in the same introduction, it's a religious fanaticism. It's a weapon of war, so it's reclassification. It's another victory over reality, so it's irrational. And now it has no lodging in reason. Okay, well I got a few things to say here, but let's dive in and I'm going to show you a few counterpoints. Now the reason that this person is upset is because Biden's nomination to the ATF is gone. Okay. Many federal agencies, from the Federal Election Commission to the Internal Revenue Service, become embroiled unhelpfully in politics. Well, no kidding, politics. But none more so than the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Now, right off the bat, they're completely negating the fact that Neera Tanden also got refuted from the Office of Management and Budget. There's a theme. It's because both the people that Biden put forward were radically left. And they were too far left for the mainstream, which is why they were rejected by Democrats. But they don't mention that here. Let's keep going. And this is the part where it's kind of an interesting response whenever the left fails. Okay? President Biden blamed Republican opposition for killing Mr. Chipman's nomination. The truth is that several Democrats from gun-friendly states also lacked the courage to stand up to the gun lobbyists who attacked the nominee, showing how morally off-kilter yet enduringly powerful the lobby remains. Keep in mind the game that they played this year, specifically around the NRA or the gun lobby. They said all the beginning of this year that the NRA was dead, the gun lobby was dead, and now's the time to push for common sense gun control. Then, when they realized that the power wasn't sourced in the NRA, it was sourced in the people who support the NRA, everyday Americans who believe in our constitutional rights, they switched very quickly to, well, now it still has power, and it's morally off kilter, and we can't beat it. See that game that they play? Let me know below if you remember us having conversations around that, because it was specifically that guy in the Senate, Blumenthal, who said that. Now, Biden blames Republicans, and the Democrats were blamed. Maybe if you can't get Republicans and Democrats, maybe it's because your nominee was too far left and you made an error in judgment, not the fact that the rest of the country can't come along with you. And that's that arrogance piece. I made a perfect, rational, amazing, perfect choice, and if you don't agree with it, then you're stupid and the problem's with you. Maybe the problem's with your choosing. Introspective observation is pretty important. These people lack it completely. Now, this point right here is where they just start throwing random stuff into the wind. The substantive opposition to Mr. Chipman revolves around his support for an assault weapons ban, which some 6 in 10 Americans also favor, which, two things. One, that's not true. The resistance to Chipman was the fact that he was from an anti-gun organization. A leader in an anti-gun organization, made fun of Americans for their gun rights and their beliefs, and then he even made references to a zombie apocalypse. Also, now that we're hovering around this subject, 6 in 10 people don't favor banning assault weapons. That is crap. And in fact, they're not even assault weapons. They are not weapons of war. Stop branding it that way. They're just firearms. Okay? And now, this is one of the things that Chipman said, that the author is saying, oh, no, you messed it up. Okay? With a weak substantive case against Mr. Chipman. Weak case? No, that was a very strong case. His critics objected most strongly to his attitude. So it wasn't about what his policies were. It was about his attitude. It's not what he said, it's how he said it. False. It's exactly what he said. It's exactly what he has a history of saying. Notice they also didn't mention anything about the discrimination in his past. Whitewash that completely. Now it's all about, well, he just didn't say it right. It's not his fault he steps out of line. He's got a good heart and this kid's a good child. He just doesn't say things the way he should. Excuse language much? Just saying. And now this part right here, this is how they wrap up, because this goes back to that arrogance and condescension we were talking about. The bizarre cult of the weapons of war has yet another victory over reason. Meanwhile, the ATF remains rudderless. First of all, they have an acting director. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's the other thing. Bizarre cult of weapons. So it's strange. It's out of the norm. It's insane that you would believe this. It's a religious fanaticism. Weapons of war, which gives you the idea that tanks are rolling around the streets, which is not true. Kind of goes and couches into the idea of we have no regulations and no common sense gun regulations at all. Not true. Over 20,000 laws on the books for firearms. Anyway. And it's got another victory over reason. And this is the part, and this is one of the main reasons I brought this article to you. The left, particularly in areas of politics, they always assign their views as rational and reasonable. And anything outside of that is wrong. So therefore, if you disagree with me, you're irrational. You're not reasonable. You don't have the ability to think like I do. I'm smarter. I should just decide this. You don't need to do this. And that's the bullet points for today. It's important to meet these guys where they're at because, number one, it's off-putting as hell. And number two, this is what people are listening to. And anybody who reads this and you have a conversation with them, this is an area where you can say, listen to what they're doing to our rights, and this is what they think of you as an American. And that's what I've got for you this morning. I will see you tonight at the 9 p.m. bullet points. Let me know what you guys think. See you later.